Thank you for joining me today for my presentation on bedside shift report. Thanks to my mom for joining us via FaceTime. Alright, bedside shift report by Candace Blair. Nurses have always received patient information at the beginning of every shift. This allows nurses to communicate information such as the patient's background, their diagnosis, any test results that may have happened, any procedures that they may have had at the beginning of the shift, and it gives nurses a clear view of the patient. By moving nurse and shift report to the bedside, the oncoming nurse is able to visualize the patient, and it also encourages the patient to be actively involved in their plan of care. The majority of shift reporting on an observed medical surgical unit was conducted at the nurse's station or outside of the patient's room. The Joint Commission has identified communication failure during handoffs a leading cause of sentinel events in the healthcare setting. What causes inadequate handoffs? Information gaps, medication errors, omission errors, and it jeopardizes patient safety. What are the benefits of bedside shift report? Patients are more involved in their plan of care. Patients appreciate meeting the oncoming nurse. It decreases nurse overtime, and it helps for nurses to be able to prioritize their day. So what are the objectives? The objectives are to educate nurses and administration on the importance of bedside shift report, implement new policy and practice to require bedside shift report at every shift, implement a standardized handoff so that there is uniformity throughout the hospital, and improve patient safety and satisfaction. What is the rationale for conducting or for solving this problem? The root cause of the problem is that nurses have a habit of conducting shift report outside of the patient's room or at the nurse's station because they don't want to walk into the patient's room, they think it's time consuming, or they don't want to put patient privacy in jeopardy. This project topic was selected based on the need for bedside shift reporting in nursing and the need to increase patient quality and safety. So what's the importance and change? Why is bedside shift reporting important? Pertinent information is exchanged during the shift. The oncoming nurse can better visualize the patient can meet the oncoming nurse. Patients can participate in their care. What are the changes that need to be made to improve patient safety and satisfaction? Implementing new policy and practice to require bedside shift report, educate nurses on the importance of bedside shift reporting, and evaluate nursing staff to ensure that it is being conducted and that it is being conducted accurately. So what is my PICO question? How does implementing a standardized bedside shift report into practice increase patient-nurse safety and satisfaction compared to the current method of practice? So what is the evidence for change? In one of the first articles, it was a quasi-experimental study that looked at nurse and patient perceptions before and after the implementation of the SBAR tool. There was, in the study, there were improvements after the implementation and 4 patient survey items specifically impacted by the change to bedside shift reporting. Nurses liked it better because they felt like they were able to have better communication between them, and it also showed that patient falls within the shift report decreased by implementing the bedside shift report because nurses were more aware of patient safety. The second article described, after implementing a standardized handoff form into practice on a medical unit, a reduction in nursing and handoff-related errors. This study showed that by implementing a standardized tool, nursing-related errors were decreased, handoff-related errors such as pressure ulcers, central lines, medication and test errors decreased, and non-handoff-related errors also decreased. The third and final article is a systematic review of literature that investigates the advantages and drawbacks of bedside shift report. This article found that patients were more informed and involved in their plan of care when the implementation of bedside shift report occurred. There was also an improvement in nurse and patient relationship and a decrease of patient falls. It also showed that there was better staff teamwork and better prioritization for staff. So what are the recommendations for the implementation of bedside shift report? Change within the organization may be accomplished by utilizing evidence-based research into policies and education. Educating nurses by using videos, guidelines, and examples of bedside shift report will assist them to be better at performing bedside shift report. The development and implementation of a standardized nursing tool will also help create a unilateral approach to the overall goal. By nurses using the same handoff tool throughout the organization, there is no cause of error because everyone is using the same form. By implementing this process on one medical surgical unit, other units are able to visibly see the results and the impact that it has on patient safety and quality of care. So how will we evaluate this process? Evaluation of the success of this project will be based on the decrease of nurse and handoff related errors occurring in the medical surgical unit. The purpose of the evaluation would be to determine whether or not the use of a standardized handoff tool improved patient nurse safety. Data can be obtained from surveys from both nurses and patients alike to see how they felt about it and if they thought that it improved or diminished their quality of care. And it may also be useful to evaluate whether or not nurses liked the standardized tool as well. The success of appropriate staff education may also be determined by test scores that can be performed either in a classroom or online setting. And if this evaluation process has not been successful, new research and planning interventions would be implemented. What are the expected outcomes? As a result of this change, it is expected that a standardized tool will be implemented on every unit in the hospital. Also, nurses will be expected to have a decrease in their nursing errors due to the better communication between shifts, and patient safety and satisfaction will improve throughout the organization. In conclusion, bedside shift report has been proven to increase patient safety when implemented in the hospital setting. When a standardized handoff tool is implemented into everyday practice, it has been shown to decrease nursing errors, decrease handoff-related errors, and improve patient safety and satisfaction. When nurses realize that bedside shift report benefits patients and patient safety, they will be more willing to implement and embrace this new change. And are there